Good morning, folks. We're going to peek in on the null school maps a bit closer today with some description. A big quake struck only 12 hours after the factors had peaked. Let's begin over at spaceweathernews.com. You are going to witness the definition of calm. While we watch almost nothing happening, I'll say there are no solar flares, no CMEs, it looks like in any direction. Solar wind is fluctuating in relatively calm range. Still got more time? Okay. Well, folks, something to watch for coming this week in the news, as the University of Arizona came out yesterday with more details about why there must be some mass far out in the solar system and how they're looking for Planet 9. The much more thorough Outer Solar System Origin Survey didn't cherry-pick their objects. Indeed, you have to down-select to only 6 if you want to see any clustering for a Planet 9. But if you use them all, including the 4 new ones the OSSOS found, you see no clustering. No gravitational tug in any one direction, meaning there are hundreds of tiny dwarf bodies out there, not one massive planet. Anyone remember that from the Starwater series? Anyway, about the only news to actually discuss on the sun other than its silence is the fact that all of the signs of the sun going to sleep, I didn't think we would see this one. He's groggy enough to forget hemispheric magnetism. We'll let it slide this time, big guy. Here's that big quake I mentioned. It rang at 6.8, but probably should be downgraded to 6.6 or so, especially since it struck the same spot as a larger quake only 8 days earlier, making it an aftershock. But now we have to question the final magnitude of the first event listed at 6.9. It was likely bigger given the size of the aftershock. A 7.1, for example, followed by a 6.6 aftershock 8 days later is a bit more realistic than a 6.9 followed by a 6.8. And of course, eyes open for more, as I did not know there was a transequatorial extension of this coronal hole, somewhat troubling for seismicity entering the weekend. But anyway, we are on to the null school maps. We're at the surface and we're watching the wind. When we step up to cloud level, we see patterns hold, but with stronger flows. Up after that are the jet streams. They don't quite look like we're used to seeing on news programs and whatnot. Above that in the stratosphere is the polar vortex. This does stick to wintertime, so it shifts poles every 6 months. But let's come back down because you can see circulation in the cells, and that circulation's tied to pressure. Highs push out, lows suck in, opposite directions in each hemisphere. The lows steal tropical moisture and drive it to higher latitudes where it's transformed into the clouds and storms we deal with on a regular basis. The brand new particulate maps we're showing are mostly going to be for things like wildfire smoke and tiny class 1 carcinogens. Even the larger particles, which are far more abundant, at 10 microns are small enough to easily enter the bloodstream. This is distinctly different from carbon monoxide, which is largely pollution driven, and of course much different than CO2, which is being quashed in the central and eastern US by the forest sucking it all up. Not so much here in the southwest. Folks, given the cosmic ray information we saw yesterday and the general state of the sun, I have to recommend considering the ultra-affordable PDF copy of Weatherman's Guide to the Sun. Less than a quarter of what you'd pay in Barnes & Noble or Amazon. We'll do this run again tomorrow, right here, but right now it's 5:30 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.